This video is long overdue, but it's a complicated one, and I've been wanting to see how I'm feeling, to really say what's up, because things are changing fast here. one time you're thinking you're totally fine, healthy, you beat the Lyme, you're good to go finally. The next day, can't feel your fingers. So I just want to make this video because I realized like this is probably gonna be a long road, and to wait until it's done. It might be in 1 month, it might be in 1 year, it might be in 10 years, it might be until I die. So might as well just make the video now. For this, I want to say that this video is not intended to like have anybody feel sorry for me or something like that. I just want to share my story so that I am sure that there is somebody who needs to hear this. I don't know who you are, but I feel like there is somebody who needs to hear this, and I really hope that somebody will click on the video and listen to this, because I think that there is so many things that are not said or that you just don't know when you get the Lyme disease, that it's there are so many things I wish somebody told me 10 years ago, and that would have made my life so much easier, and that would have saved me a lot of time, a lot of money, and I wouldn't have had to say goodbye to a lot of dreams of mine. So this is for you, whoever you are. I will quickly say my story for those who don't know. I got diagnosed with Lyme disease in 2012, so almost 10 years ago. And I got sick actually 9 months before that. In the summer I got the tick bite, and I got really sick. And my doctors, love them to death, sent me to every doctor, almost, to see what's up with me. And they couldn't find. Every doctor that I went to said I'm totally fine. And I started to feel like a crazy person, spending like all this money. Like, okay, I was in Estonia, so everything is free. Healthcare is free if you have the insurance from the government. And so I was just like feeling like I'm wasting doctors' time, because everybody said that I am like the book example how people should be, that I'm so healthy. And I was a professional athlete. I was playing for my national team. I was playing for NCAA in America. So I was really practicing twice a day. I was in really good shape before I got sick. And so everybody wanted to help me, because I was the national team player. You know, I was the bright future of Estonia. And so they really did try to find what was wrong with me, but they couldn't. And then we were like still like trying to figure things out. But then I had to go to America because the new school year was starting, and so I did start to feel better on my own without any treatment. So we just kind of like let it go, and I flew to America, and I felt better, so I thought it's gone, whatever it was. And I played the whole season, very challenging NCAA women's basketball. And after the season, I just totally crashed. I felt really tired the whole season, but if you're an NCAA athlete, you kind of expect to feel tired. You know, if you're playing every game, starting five, like you are supposed to be tired, you know, so, and add to that schoolwork and everything. And so I was really tired, but I felt like, yeah, you're supposed to be tired. You're, you know, doing all those things. And then, but after the season ended, I just crashed. Like my body was just like done with it, you know, and like I could not even some days like I just had to like take all the strength that I had in myself to just go to a bus, to take a bus to school. And that's when I knew that, you know, whatever I was having, I still have it. And so I went back to the doctors, and I got diagnosed with Lyme disease. Well, that was also a long road to get to that point, because I had to switch doctors, because literally somebody thought I'm a little bit crazy, maybe, because I Googled my symptoms and I was like, I have this. And then the doctor was like, this is not something that doctors acknowledge as a disease. So basically, like, he literally thought that I'm crazy and was like, you know. But then I went to another doctor and they did all the tests and they were so helpful, and thank God they found out that I have Lyme disease, and I did 2 weeks of antibiotics. Just take the pills, and that was supposed to be it. You were supposed to take them, and then you're supposed to be healthy. And I did feel much better. I did so much better, actually. And I did believe this. I did believe that I am okay now. And I went back to Estonia. The season was over. I started playing with my national team right away, but then I just felt like I was still like recovering from everything, so I couldn't even play all the national team. Like, I could actually play a few games, but like I shouldn't have. And then I was like halfway through, I was like, I'm sorry, coach, I'm not coming to wherever they were flying because I just can't. My body just doesn't allow me to work out to play basketball. And I went back to the doctors. And the doctors told me, yes, it is normal for you to feel tired and feel all these things. It's going to take a while until you recover. Okay, and so after the doctor said that I should have just recover and rest, basically I had 8 years when I felt like something is wrong with me, but I kept going to the doctors and they kept saying to me that I am fine, and that all the tests that I did, they sent me to another doctor and said, to see if there's something else wrong with me, and they just said I'm fine, and they couldn't find anything, and nobody would do the Lyme test again, and nobody would say that the way I'm feeling is because of Lyme disease. And then last spring I totally crashed. Like, I was feeling so tired, like I had constant brain fog, I was dizzy, I was tired. And I was just like, no, like, stop, like I'm not playing this game anymore. And luckily I had somebody who is a doctor and who was willing to work with me and who helped me to get to the hospital so that they can do me the test that I needed to find out if it's still Lyme disease. And so what they did was that they took a sample from my spinal fluid to see if I have neurological Lyme disease. And I did have it. And if it wasn't for that person, I would have had a chance to go to the hospital and do this test. And that is insane. You know, that even when I was in the hospital, I wasn't feeling my 2 big toes were numb for a year by that time. I was feeling my fingers were getting numb. I was feeling constantly so exhausted. And even then, in the hospital, they would do every test there is to do. They would do MRIs, MR tests, they would do everything. But they would not want to do the Lyme test to me, even though they know that I have had Lyme and that these symptoms are Lyme symptoms as well. And I had to literally beg the doctor, please, I need to know, like, can you please make the test? And luckily she agreed to do it, and she did it. And a week later I find out that I have neurological Lyme disease, and I am so sure that it is not a fresh disease from another tick bite. I am so sure that it's been going on since 2011, and there is no way for me to say that. But the whole time I've been going to the doctors trying to figure out what's wrong with me, and I don't believe that it's another fresh tick bite. I don't believe that. And so I got another treatment, 3 weeks of antibiotics into your veins. So they will inject it to you in the hospital for 21 days in a row. And that is for the antibiotics to go through the blood and brain barrier and get to your spine and kill the bacteria there. And I did feel better, but not quite there yet. And so we followed it up by like a lot of like herbal remedies. Like I was taking so many supplements, like food, like vitamins and stuff. And then we did another like natural antibiotics just to kill it off if there is anybody still moving. And sometimes I felt worse, sometimes better. When I felt worse, we changed it up a little bit. And I felt this January and February, I felt so good. I felt better than I have felt for 10 years. And that was insane to me. Like, I remembered what it's like to be a healthy, normal person and how I'm supposed to be feeling. And that is crazy, you know, like, you actually forget what it's like to be healthy and to be normal, you know? Like, I'm functioning. I can, like, do most of the things that everybody can, like, healthy people can, but I don't have the same energy levels, and I don't have the same... I don't know, I've been always looking at my friends and be like, how do you have so much energy for all those things? And I'm just like, I've been looking at their energy of life, and I've been like jealous, you know. I've been like, I wish I had all this energy to do all those things, but I don't. And now I know why. So this is my story, but what I want to say, I just want to give some recommendations that I have learned along the way that I think would be really beneficial to other people who might be struggling with the same problem. And I want to say this, what is insane to me is that there is a disease that is very common. A lot of people, hundreds of thousands, get it every year. That you get it, and then there is a treatment protocol, which is antibiotics for 2 or 3 weeks, depending what you have. And then it's done. There is no other treatment. There is no test to see if you still have it, because the test, how they see the Lyme disease, is they are looking for antibodies in your blood. So they're not looking for the bacteria, because the bacteria is so small and it can be like it might not be in the sample that you're taking, you know. So it's like a game of luck if you just look for the bacteria. So what they're doing, they're looking for antibodies that your body is trying to fight with the Lyme. And so the problem is that even if the Lyme is gone, you still have the antibodies for years. So there is no way you can do the test to see if you have it. I mean, they are doing some tests and see if the antibody levels are rising and all that cool stuff. But like, your immune system might be so messed up that you don't even produce antibodies, you know? Like, it is so difficult to see if you still have it. So for a lot of people who have Lyme, they don't go and try to make the test if they still have it. They just look at their symptoms. If their symptoms are still there, then obviously there's still something going on, you know. And then you have to differentiate between whether I still have the bacteria inside of my body or whether it is the damage that it did, you know. So like, it is insane. You get sick, you have symptoms, then you treat yourself, and then you have to... And if the symptoms prevail, then they don't test you again, and they say the Lyme is gone. They say it like it seems almost like it's a fate that the doctors have, that they believe that the Lyme is gone, even though you have all the symptoms that you have before. And it just doesn't fit into my head. How is that possible? How is that possible that I went back to the doctor, said that I had the same symptoms that I had before coming back? And he said, it's okay, it's normal, it takes months to recover. Like, how do you know that it's gone? Like, you're not testing, the symptoms are there. What the hell are the symptoms they're doing there? And if it is like after effect, then why? What is broken inside of me? Like, it damaged something inside of my system, right? Then what did it damage? Like, can we measure that? Can we heal that? Like, can we help that? Like, maybe it's my brain. Can we what is wrong with my brain then? Like, what can I do to help heal my brain? Like, no, they just sent you home, said recover, sleep, rest. And then you rest for 8 years waiting for it to go away magically. But it's not going to go away. It's not going to go away on its own. You know, and the thing is, your immune system can kill the bacteria, the Lyme bacteria, okay? And it is constantly trying to do so. It is trying, but it is fighting with the bacteria all the time. And that is a lot of stress on your immune system. So your immune system becomes overburdened with that ongoing war, you know. So sooner or later, you're going to have a breakdown. Your immune system is weakened, you know. So the thing you can do for yourself the main thing you have to do for yourself. You have to be your immune system's best friend. You cannot do anything to compromise the immune system. You have to support. You have to give every support that you can to your immune system so that it can keep the bacteria under control. That is the number one thing. And how do you do that? Like, you can look it up on the internet. It's everywhere. What you can do for your immune system, you have to sleep well in the right time. You have to eat well. You have to not drink alcohol. You have to not drink caffeine. You have to take vitamins. You have to make sure that your body gets all the vitamins that it needs. And it's a lot of work, you know. You have to put your immune system and what it needs the first every single day. And and that is my number one recommendation to do. Sleep well, eat well. Don't go and exercise crazy. Like, don't, like, okay, a little bit some workout is good, but don't go and kill your immune system with having to recover from hard workouts. Like, physical work, try to avoid physical work and try to not work out too much, because every workout means that your body needs to recover, and it takes a lot of energy, and you have a very limited amount of energy left after your body is fighting with something like Lyme disease, you know. So yeah, this is my number one priority, to just be your immune system's best friend. That is the best thing you can do for yourself. Second thing that I want to say is that, like, take responsibility for your health and don't blame the doctors. Yes, I know. So many doctors that don't know enough. You know, they just don't know enough about Lyme disease to help you, you know, and it makes all the sense in the world, because first of all, Lyme disease the bacteria was found in 1982. So it's been less than 40 years that we know about that bacteria, you know, so it's a very, like, relatively new thing. Like, it hasn't been around, like, for thousands of years so that people would know so much about it. Like, there is so much research being done, but you have to understand that if you go to your family doctor, like, he's not going to be a specialist in that. And the problem with me, my mistake was that I was expecting that my family doctor knows everything. Like, there are over 10,000 different diseases, and you expect your family doctor to know everything about all of those? They have to know everything. They have to know everything, but it's not possible. They are humans. They are trying their best, you know, but they are not specialists in Lyme disease. And they're not supposed to be. Maybe they are supposed to understand that, okay, this person needs a specialist in Lyme disease, but don't expect them to know things. Especially with Lyme disease, the research that is being done in the recent year, there has been so many new things coming out about the bacteria and how it behaves, that, like, the research is being done right now, you know, and the new things are coming out every month, you know. So I mean, I know people say that don't Google your symptoms or your disease and don't cure yourself, but I say go ahead, go and Google everything you can about Lyme disease. Go and read all the articles, you know, like certified articles about Lyme disease. There are so many that show you why the treatment with antibiotics is not working for you. And it has the most logical explanation, and that is that bacteria are clever. They are evolving and they don't want to die, and they have their defensive mechanisms against your immune system and against the antibiotics. And what happens, which is shown lately with research, is that antibiotics are not effective in a lot of cases, because the Lyme disease bacteria can hide in the body. It can hide behind a biofilm, and antibiotics are not able to kill the bacteria that are inside the biofilm communities, and that is why when you are getting your antibiotic treatment, it kills all the free bacteria that is running around in your blood, but it's not killing the ones that are hiding in the biofilm communities. And so you're feeling better because all the active bacteria is being killed, right? But then after a while, the ones that were hiding, they come out after the antibiotic treatment is over, and you will get flare up. You will get it back. They will gather their strength and start messing up your body again. After the treatment, and that is research has been done, and it has been found inside of human bodies, the biofilm matrix, basically. So it makes all the sense that antibiotics work when it is early stage and they haven't formed any biofilm communities. When it's just all fresh and they're just in your blood. Yes, if you get treated right away, I really believe that you get rid of the Lyme right away. I have had many friends and family that got the tick bite, who got the antibiotics right away and who are fine. But if you have it for a longer time, and the bacteria has time to settle in your body, it's not going to be that easy. And I think that's where the problem comes, is that because there are a lot of cases when the antibiotics work so well, that's why the doctors think that yes, it should work, and they see the success stories all the time where it works, so they get this idea that it's a bacteria that is really easy to kill, and the disease is easy to handle. But then there are harder cases, and they are not in your head. If you are one of them, they are not in your head. Just look around, do the research. You can see people like you all around you, all over the world, who say that, they are still not feeling good. Doctors say that there is nothing else they can do. They can't treat you anymore. And you're on your own, But there are doctors who can help you. You just have to find them. You have to find them. You have to find people who are specialized in these kind of things and who are up to date with recent research. And that person is not going to be a family doctor, probably. But don't blame the doctors. There is not one doctor that I have met that didn't want me to get healthy. Doctors become doctors because they want to help people to get better. They want to save lives. They want to have people live better lives. And I believe that with all my heart. And I know that there are so many conspiracies with doctors want to keep their patients sick so that the patients would keep coming in and they could make much more money. No, I haven't met one of those doctors yet. Doctors want you to get well. They are humans. They feel bad for you to see that you're sick for years and see your dreams broke and see you being unhappy and getting depressed and everything. They don't want to see that. They want you to be healthy. But maybe they just don't know. Maybe they don't know the research. Maybe they're just not up to date. Or maybe they work in a hospital that doesn't allow them to treat yourself the way you should be treated. For example, if there are insurance companies involved, which is a big case, for example, in America, in the United States, the insurance companies have way too much say about how things are treated. There are actually active court cases going on right now where people who didn't get treated with their Lyme because the insurance company doesn't allow doctors to treat them any more or any further than the 3-week antibiotics. So I'm looking at those cases and really hoping for those people to get their justice, but just know that some doctors are limited in what they can do. And some doctors in America, for example, went out of their way. They understood that their patients are still sick and they gave them more treatment, and they lost their jobs. They lost their license because they went against the protocol that is given to them, how they have to treat Lyme. But their patients got better. They saved lives. They made people's lives so much better. They risked everything and they lost everything. But they saved lives and they helped people. When everybody else was telling them, I'm sorry, I can't do anything. And that's messed up, But so just find the person who can help you. And don't blame your doctors. It is your health. You are living inside of your body. And you have to take full responsibility for your recovery and for your treatment. If it's not working out for you, find a new doctor. I'm not saying that treat yourself but on your own. I think that's really dangerous, and you shouldn't do that. But if something is not working for you or you're not getting help, find somebody else. Find somebody who can help you, because there are people who can help you. You just haven't found them yet. Another thing that I want to say is that there are so many people who have experienced that you feel sick, and then you're told after they do the treatment and after you're still not feeling better, then you are told that it's in your head. You are imagining it. And I definitely had times when I was going from doctor to doctor and everybody was saying that I'm totally fine, but I started to question myself. I was like, am I imagining it? Am I really sick, or maybe I am making it up? Maybe. And there were times where I just ignored all the symptoms, and I ignored my body, and I ignored the way I was feeling. I was just telling myself, I'm fine, I'm healthy. All the doctors say that I'm healthy. If they are saying that it's in your head, that's a very complicated situation to be in, because a lot of times they write it in your documents, right? In your medical documents, that maybe you're a little bit crazy, and then not many doctors are gonna take you seriously after that, because the first thing they do, they open your story, they say this little remark, it can be in his head, and that might be it. That might prevent you from getting the help that you need. And the only thing that I'm gonna say is that, like, it can be in your head. Lyme bacteria is capable of going inside of your brain. I have neurological Lyme disease. That means that the bacteria went into my spinal cord. So it can be, it can be physically be in your head, and it can be altering your mind and causing you psychological disorders. Yes, absolutely. And also, think about it. If you're living with something that is constantly dragging you down, that is making your immune system weak, that is you don't know what is wrong with you. You keep being ignored by doctors. There is no good cure or testing available for everybody, and you're constantly fighting with it, and you're constantly feeling tired and brain fog and all the symptoms that you have. These symptoms are scary. Some of the things that you are feeling, they are scary. It is scary to go and get an MRI for your brain, because you are starting to imagine that you have a brain cancer, maybe. Perhaps that's what's wrong with you. It is a lot of stress. It is a lot of stress, and you cannot think that it's not gonna affect you mentally. It is absolutely gonna affect you mentally. It is putting so much stress on your mental health. Like, you're not some kind of superhero that is not supposed to be affected by this very hard disease. It is affecting you, and it can cause you depression, and it can cause you all kind of mental disorders. So like, yes, like, it can be messing up with your head, but that doesn't mean that you don't have the Lyme disease. You can have depression from Lyme disease and also have the Lyme disease, So if doctors diagnose you with depression or with any other thing, or say that you're crazy, okay, doctors don't say you're crazy, but they diagnose you, then it is possible. It is a very hard disease to deal with. It puts so much stress on your mental health, and you need to take care of your mental health, and you need to check your mental health and understand that it is possible that you are having those mental disorders from having to fight with this disease for so long time. So, like, don't ignore it, but don't think that you're making things up. Don't. Like, I did that, and I wasted my time to get treatment because I was like, okay, everybody's saying I'm good, then I must be good, But no, you know deep down in yourself, if you're sick or not. If you're feeling okay or not. And nobody can tell you that you're not. Nobody can tell you you're crazy, If you know deep down that you're not feeling good, yes, it can be affecting your mental state, but believe in yourself, believe what you feel. Your gut instinct is very rarely wrong, you know. So if you have a feeling that you still have it, like, keep digging, keep trying to find, keep testing, keep trying to find something that helps you, you know. It can be in your head. It definitely has affected me, my mental state. Like the dreams that I have to give up. I practiced basketball for 16 years. I was so good. I was in my national team. I was one of the best players in my national team. I was a really good player, and I had worked my whole life to become a EuroLeague player. And I was at that level already. I was ready to go to EuroLeague, but it never happened to me because my body did not allow me to work out anymore, you know. I have given up so many dreams. And that is hard. That is gonna take you down. That is gonna break you a little bit, you know. And even now, like 2 weeks ago, I got my Lyme disease symptoms back. I felt my fingers and my toes went numb for many times in a day. I felt very strong brain fog. I felt super tired. I was in bed for 2 days just sleeping, and that was like psychologically so hard for me because I was feeling so well in January that I was so sure that I have beaten Lyme, that I don't have it anymore, and that was really hard to accept, you know. And I know exactly why I got the flare up. I know exactly what I did wrong, and it's hard to like accept this, you know. But it is what it is, and I mean, you can cry about it if you need to cry it all out. But the next day, wake up and think logically. Think what made it happen. Why are you having symptoms again? What caused the flare up? And what is the next step you're gonna do to recover? You know, because like getting depressed and sad and everything, it can happen, but you also have to have a plan, you know. Even if you're feeling sick, even if you're not feeling good at all, you don't have any energy to deal with this, but you have to find it. You're in yourself, and you have to have a plan. You can't just wait for it to go away because it's not gonna go away on its own, you know. You have to call your doctor. You have to make a new plan. That's just how it is. Lyme disease can cause you all sorts of problems, and you have to deal with those problems, you know. And one of the problems that there is with Lyme disease is that some of the symptoms are so broad that they can be from many things, you know. For example, my biggest symptoms is that I have a very severe fatigue, and I have constant brain fog, dizziness. I can't concentrate. My memory is impaired. I can't remember things, you know, and my thoughts are not clear. Like when I sometimes even try to make a video for my channel, but I can't put everything together. I forget a lot of things, you know. So these symptoms, like a lot of diseases, can cause tiredness and brain fog. But you need to go and look inside of them. Why are you feeling tired? You know. So yes, your body is fighting the bacteria, but what else? Maybe from that you have not enough vitamins, you know. So do the blood tests. See if you have all the vitamins right. For example, I didn't have enough D vitamin. I didn't have enough B vitamin a year ago. So now that I start to take them, I'm feeling much more better because my body can fight with them. Another thing that we found out, that my body is not producing cortisol, very important hormone that you need to function very well, you know. And if you don't have cortisol, you don't have energy, and that's where my tiredness comes. You know, you can make a test. Like I made a test. You take the cortisol. You measure the cortisol levels 4 times a day, in the morning, lunch, afternoon, and then before the bed. And cortisol levels are supposed to go up in the morning and then level off by the evening. But my levels were just non-existent. So my body is not producing enough cortisol, but it is producing a little bit. There is a long road from having normal cortisol levels until having none. So if you are like over here, the doctors will not see you. They will not diagnose you with anything. They will not treat that with anything. But you're one step away from having your body not produce any cortisol for you and having to take hormones for the rest of your life. You're over here. That already is a big problem, you know, and you can find out this on your own. You can do the cortisol test and see if maybe the reason why you are tired is because your body is not producing cortisol, you know. So, and if that's true, then you can see with your doctor what you can do to support your adrenal glands, you know, and how to get the cortisol levels up again so that your body can function properly and you can have a fulfilling life where you feel energy to do things and to dream and to work and to do everything that you want, you know. So like if you're just feeling tired, like find out why. What is it? What is not being produced in your body? Is it just the stress from fighting the Lyme disease, or did it already damage something to a point that you can measure it and then you can start to support those things, you know? So like it needs to be approached scientifically. You can do tests to see what's up, and then you can start supporting those things along the way as you're also trying to find the treatment against the Lyme bacteria, you know. And there comes a point when, like, for example, for me, I don't know if there is Lyme bacteria inside of me right now. I don't believe that there is a test that can show that to me. And perhaps it's not. Perhaps I don't have, but I am dealing with the after effects, you know, that something, that the bacteria damage something. And now every time that I am stressed, it comes out, it flares out. There's this other thing, somebody explained it to me really well. And basically, the thing with Lyme is that no matter how much you sleep, you're not going to feel more energy, you know? That's why it's not a good strategy to just rest and think that it's going to go away. Because it's same as if you would have your phone die off, the battery dies, and then you would switch off the phone. Or let's say the battery gets really low and you just switch off the phone for 8 hours and then you switch it back on. The battery is still going to be low, you know. So I think it's really good comparison with Lyme disease, you know. You can't sleep it off. Like at first that's what I was trying. If you're tired, you sleep, right? But that doesn't work with Lyme. So I don't want to share too much like what I am doing to treat Lyme, because I don't think it's right to just say, oh, I'm doing this, try this, and you'll be good, you know, because it can be very dangerous, you know. I think that every case has to be looked individually, and with together with a doctor. I don't think it's a good idea to just try and treat yourself on your own, because there might be things that you don't know that are really dangerous, you know. So like I don't want to give you like specific things that I'm doing that I feel like are helping, but I just want to give you like the basic idea behind what I'm doing is that I'm supporting everything. I'm supporting my immune system every way that I can. I have very strict diet. I don't eat anything with sugar, so that I don't put any stress on my body with any food allergies or just like unhealthy foods. But I think what needs to be done, if these bacteria are inside of the biofilm communities or matrix, that you need to dissolve that matrix, or you need to get through the biofilm. So I think there are some things that can kill the biofilm, you know, that can kill that thing that your body's immune system can go and attack that bacteria that was hiding inside of it, you know. So this is at least my strategy that we're gonna try, and of course support the immune system any way that we can. The last thing that I want to say is that what I have realized for me, whenever I have a flare-up, it usually comes with my immune system being weak because of stress that comes from my mental state. For example, if I am really like upset about something, or if I am going through something, or I'm doing something that is not healthy for me, I'm in a situation. I've had really hard 2 years with things that were going on in my life, and when I was in my lowest points, that's when your immune system is also so stressed. That's when you get a flare up. That's when I get a flare up. When last spring, before I went to the hospital, I was in a very bad state in my mental state, in my head. I was really unhappy in my life, and that allowed symptoms to come out strongly because my immune system was weak and was not able to deal with all this. So what I want to say is that if you need to put yourself in a good place. If you're unhappy with your life, you need to make life changes that are going to make you happier. If you're in a bad situation, you need to get away from that bad situation whenever possible, you know. Like me, for example, I had to quit my job. I had to distance myself from certain people, you know, because they were not good to me. They were not good for my mental health, you know. And it was very tough decisions. It was very hard for me to do. But at the end of the day, you need to make those moves for your mental health and also to fight with Lyme, you know, because if you're struggling internally, like your physical bodies can't heal. Like you need to put yourself in a good place. And also like with your like relationships, it can be so straining to be in a relationship with a person who is constantly ill or who is going through Lyme disease. It puts a big strain on your relationship, and you need to understand that it's not only hard for you, but it's also hard for people who are right next to you and who love you and who care about you and who want the best for you. And you have to understand them as well, that they didn't sign up for this. They didn't know that this is gonna happen, and it is it's a lot of stress, you know, and there can be times when they're not gonna be supportive because it is just too much for them, and you can't blame them. Like you can't blame them because they are doing their best, I'm sure, but it's a lot for you, and it's a lot for everybody else around you, you know. So, you know, just don't blame them if they can't be there for you every day, because it hurts to see somebody that you love suffer and not do so well, and you know. Okay, I think that's it that I wanted to tell you. If there is if you are struggling with Lyme disease, I would love for you to maybe share something in the comments to read other people's stories and to share our thoughts, and maybe we can support each other and maybe even try and find solutions together or see what has helped somebody. So I encourage you to leave a comment. And yeah, I think it is important as well to share your stories, because it's not being talked enough. You know, there are lately been some celebrities who are talking about this, and that is so good, because we need more awareness for this disease. We need more people to understand that it is not so easy to treat. It is a very complicated disease that can ruin people's lives. It can take away dreams. It can do a lot of bad things, and I think that the more we talk about it, the more awareness we have, and the more the doctors will be looking into this and be like, hey, okay, why are so many people having problem with this if that's a simple disease that can be treated with 3 weeks of antibiotics, you know. So if you have a story to share, I encourage that you tell your story, and you share it with your friends, your family, and wherever you can, because more awareness means more research, means hopefully more money, and hopefully more success stories, so that in 10 years or 20 years we don't have to sit down and have this conversation, you know. I really hope that this will be true. I believe that in 15 years this is not going to be a problem. No doctor is going to say that you are fine even though you have all the symptoms after the treatment. They will try to figure it out with you. The insurance companies cannot keep saying that this is the only treatment needed for Lyme. They cannot keep saying that. These court cases are gonna go, I don't know if they're gonna win or not, but there will be another ones if they lose this time. And sooner or later, there will be better treatment protocol for Lyme. And people don't have to go through what me and you went through if you are the one that is going through that. So share your stories. Stay positive, find people who are struggling with the same thing, because they will be the ones to understand you. Your husbands or your family, you can tell them, but they don't know what you're going through because they don't have it, you know. So find people who have it, who have been... It is amazing how many similar stories we have. Doctors saying you're fine, doctors giving you treatment saying, this is the only treatment. Your insurance not covering anything else. You're being told it's in your head. You know, all these things. Like there are people who are going through the same thing. So find them and find the support from them. Okay. Yeah, that's it for the day. I'm really good that I get to share this and talk this, and I really hope that it resonated with anyone listening to this. If not, at least I gave my try, and yes, I'll keep fighting. Sooner or later, I'm gonna beat it. I don't know if it's gonna be tomorrow, next week, or next decade. I'm not gonna give up, and don't give up. You got this. Okay. I leave you with that. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you on the next one.